Hi, Karen.
Hey, Dambara, it's great to see you.
You too. What was your family like?
I had a very musical family. My dad was a professional violinist. My mom was a violist and pianist. And when I was a baby, they tell me that they used to rehearse string quartets in the living room, and they would put me in uh, a little, it's not a crib, but whatever kids get put into, and that I would just climb out regularly and enjoy listening and creating havoc with their rehearsals. And I had a little tiny violin put under my chin when I was probably about 4.
Wow.
And my dad started to teach me how to play. So pretty fast, we moved over to reading music, and I had a very fast natural affinity with it. So I learned to read music very early.
Uh-huh.
And I was performing very early too. I think I did some performing on the violin when I was about kindergarten age or first grade. And one
Karen,
of the
why have
fun,
we not heard your violin?
because violins get rusty over time. The amount of practice that I would need to bring it back up is more than I'm currently committed to doing. Pretty soon, probably about 8 or 9, I really took to the piano, and I self-taught for a little while. Then my mom taught me for a while, and then wisely started sending me off to a teacher. It's mostly been an immersion in classical music.
Yeah.
And then when I was first exposed to Swamiji's music, it was lovely but simple. So
Uh-huh.
I didn't immediately find myself moved by its beauty. And I guess I've heard that from a few classically trained
Hmm.
musicians. But it did not take long. Once you start singing it, something happens to your consciousness, and it's different than what most of the music inspired that I had played before.
That's
You'd have
interesting. So singing more than playing, you think?
much more,
Okay.
much more. Maybe I'm not that feeling an instrumental musician, but I rarely had moments of uplifted, overwhelming, thrilling experience playing an instrument as I did singing.
Okay.
And perhaps that it's an energetic physical thing. There's something completely different and alive about running music up along the vocal cords, over the heart, moving energy through the body. It doesn't move in the same way with with an instrument, unless you're really a gifted, very
Yeah.
gifted instrumental musician.
Yeah. So how did you come to Ananda and Swami's music?
I was living and working in Philadelphia as an environmental activist, and uh, I had studied, experienced Eastern religion in college, and it was maybe about 3 years after college, and I just was deeper and deeper yearning for a a more powerful connection with the divine,
Hmm.
and prayed hard for God to come into my life. I'd read so much; it was time for more of an experience,
Mhm.
and as a consequence of that prayer, I was drawn to a retreat up in Poconos called White Cloud. And I went up there praying to find my guru. I had read so many books by Eastern teachers, it was time to choose. I spent days deeply praying and calling out. And on the last day, I noticed that at the foot of my bed in the room that I was staying in was a giant, I mean giant picture of Master that I essentially had not noticed because I was so busy in my own head praying. And I thought, holy cow, could that be? And that night I went to a little kirtan that was being run at the retreat, and they were playing I'm the Bubble.
Okay.
And I was just so, that was the moment of, wow, this is real. It really touched me.
Very sweet.
And the man who was leading that kirtan, I was the only person in the room with the man who owned the little retreat center. It turned out he was a lay SRF minister.
Ah,
Somehow he had permission from SRF to be doing what he was doing, and so um, I spoke to him afterwards. He said that was the deepest meditation I've ever had.
wow.
So I felt there was a little special blessing in
Yeah.
that moment. So I bought every book he had. He said, don't read them all at once, please. There's a lot of meat in there for a lifetime. And so I'd found my guru, and right about that moment, David was also praying for clarity, and he had a big life adventure. I won't share all the details of that one here. But within a year, we had sold everything we owned and packed it all up into our little red Honda Civic. And we were committed to living a life devoted to God, but we didn't know what we were going to do
Oh,
next. So David had gotten very strong guidance to leave Philadelphia and drive west. We had a retirement party and we drove west, and we got all the way out to the Grand Tetons, and we had no idea what to do next. We just didn't know where to go or what to do. But I had a little book in the back of my car, a little red book by Ram Dass, Journey to Awakening, which a lot of people may remember. And in the back, it listed a bunch of places where you could learn meditation.
huh.
And Ananda was listed in the back, and it started with an A. So we thought, let's start with them. So we called, and Keshava answered the phone, who we didn't yet know, and said that they had just started a program about 2 days ago, a month-long program. And we said, we're in. We're on our way. And we drove day and night from Wyoming until we got to Ananda, and we've never left.
When was that?
1983. So we
Wow.
heard Swami's music early on, and again, it was beautiful, but it wasn't until I started singing it that I was absolutely thrilled by it. It was a way to pray that added so much depth to my spiritual experience. So, for example, just singing the Psalm of David. Reading it is one thing. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, whence cometh my strength. It's fine, but it's so different to sing it. When you sing it, you really start to feel the meaning of the words, and suddenly it becomes a living prayer
Hmm.
that I can't experience the power of a prayer really nearly as much as when I sing something like that. So for me, that's a big piece of my sadhana. So I'm sure it's the deepest spiritual experience that I have is through singing that music in that way. The oratorio had just been written not too long after I came, and Asha knew that I sang, so she found a way to get me into the choir, even though I was pretty new to Ananda. So I was fortunate to have the opportunity to sing with a lot of experienced people then. I was kind of hidden from view at Ananda. I was a trained musician, a trained singer, but I don't think anyone really knew. And there wasn't a way to join into the ensemble groups because there was just one group, and it was an old-timer group that there wasn't really an invitation for anyone else to be part of it.
Okay.
So right around maybe 88 or 9, maybe, after I'd been at the village for a while, I started another ensemble group just for fun in my own living room. And Panduranga was our guitarist.
Oh.
And so that was how he got started singing Swami's music and being part of that group. And many singers were part of that who are now very active musicians.
Do you remember Swami saying anything to you about music, about your performing of it, or about the music in general, how to do it?
I mean, one of the most beautiful is the instruction that he gives to, as we sing, to allow the music to pass across our hearts and out, almost like you're playing a cello across the heart chakra as the music is coming through. So it's not just this technical experience, but you're adding a lot of your natural feeling into it as it comes out. That awakens your heart as you do it, and I think it helps the audience to feel that as well. I've been working with a number of people, especially Ken Salisbury, on putting together a songbook of all of Swami's vocal music. It's 192 pieces. It's fantastic.
Wow.
And it's about 1 page per piece, sometimes 2, and all the lyrics and easy chords for guitarists or pianists to play.
Right.
And it's just beautiful. I'm very excited about it. And it's just the melody. So this, I think Swami often shared that the melody line has, um, I don't want to overstate it, but just really carries the consciousness of the
Mhm.
song in it. And so as you sing it, you can just feel that. So this book, I hope, makes the music available to lots and lots of people. And
How did the
well,
inspiration for that come about?
Asha is great at uh, encouraging people with a sentence or two into projects that take months and years to finish. And this was one of those. She said she's always wondered why we didn't have a dog-eared songbook at Ananda that everybody had and could just pick up anytime they wanted to
Huh.
for all sings or group sings or for our own enjoyment. And I thought that was a great idea, and I couldn't believe that we hadn't done it yet. It makes the music available to people who aren't choir people, because
Huh.
our music has been really limited to choir people. If someone walks into my temple and says, "Hey, I want a collection of all your music," they're going to get four-part harmony stuff,
Yep.
which is not, most people don't find that very useful or interesting. It's page after page of stuff. A
Yeah.
song can sometimes go 5 or 6 pages. This is not anything easy for a new person to sit down and enjoy. I hope I can make it available as everywhere as people might be interested.
Okay.
It'll also be available online through Crystal Clarity, which
Okay.
is great.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, well done.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. So segueing back to suggestions or insights or tips that Swami had about the music, how to present it, how to sing it. Any other memories about that?
He always reminded me, please, to take my glasses off before I performed. And he said, because consciousness comes through the eyes
Huh.
to the audience, very important, and it's blocked when you wear glasses. In fact, I've taken my glasses off for this interview.
Huh.
So here are my glasses again, and you can tell me if you notice a difference when I'm
Huh.
talking to you,
Huh.
with glasses or without glasses.
Okay. Good point. Yep.
And I had an unusual experience of it when I was part of a small singing group that toured Italy for a
Hmm.
couple of years. About 2002 we started, and we were at a big conference event, kind of like a trade show. And it was chaotic. There were a lot of booths, a lot of noise, and we were going to sing a couple songs on a stage in an area where people were half paying attention. And right before we went on was a lingerie show. So, it's Italy. It was beautiful lingerie, beautiful people. So after they were done, the audience cleared out and we walked on stage, and there were maybe 8 people left in the audience to hear us sing. And we sang our few songs, and we left the hall, and we just thought, what a waste of time. About a month later, I got an email from Gyan Dev at the Expanding Light, and he said, there's a guest here who saw you sing in Italy at a conference, and he named that event. And he said, this woman saw you sing, and she felt something powerful from your eyes, and she knew she had to find out where this group came from.
Wow.
So she got online and she found the Expanding Light in America and flew all the way to California.
Amazing.
And I thought, okay, Swami, whatever you say.
Were you part of the early efforts to bring music out to the New Thought, religious science, etc.?
I was in the 1984 foray, which was maybe the first time our best ensemble group went out for any length of time, because they
Okay.
were out of a year. I bet they were out for about 12 to 15 weeks. And I was out with them most of that time, just managing their gigs. And so it was a lot of fun.
Okay.
We once, they sang I booked them to sing in an Assembly of God church, giant fundamentalist church in Montana. And we were out in the motorhome getting ready for the gig, and everybody quickly took pictures of Master and hid them and took off anything that was Om signs. I mean, everybody just, we became generic singers. And we walked in, and it was an Alleluia enthusiastic fundamentalist church, and they loved the music too.
Okay, great.
The other thing too is that the people of Ananda have an unusual vibration. And so if anyone in an audience is vibrating in this similar way, like that woman in Italy
Mhm.
happened to be, they will pick up the radio signal and
Mm.
they'll be drawn. It's like Master sending out a call and people responding to it. So you just, the presence of Ananda people and their vibration when they're singing is so moving and inspiring.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
it does feel like a little signal that's just being sent out.
So how long have you been in Palo Alto now since you guys moved down?
So since 96, so that
Okay. Wow.
is what, 24
4
years?
years, yeah.
I was at Ananda Village 13 years and then here. And so
Wow.
we've been here the whole time except for that about 2 year period when we lived in Italy.
What advice would you have for people during this time of
There's
COVID?
a wonderful collection of all of Swami's music that is available through Crystal Clarity. I think it's their sort of their big
Yeah.
everything he recorded. I listen to that all the time in my car
Hmm.
and sing along with it. And so not only are you getting to sing, but you're also, um, I've heard it said that Swami is a master, a fifth chakra master.
Hmm.
And you can hear it in the beauty of his speaking voice and the clarity and
Hmm.
the energy that comes through when he sings. And so listening to those earlier recordings when his voice was exceptional and all that power was coming through, I really recommend it.
Hmm.
So buy it, listen to it, sing to it, and stay warmed up. And
Yep.
yeah, don't just become a hermit in your home like so many people have. Get out.
Uh-huh.
Get out in nature, sing to the trees.
How do you view people who aren't as skilled or experienced at holding a harmony, or singing on pitch or blending with a group or all those things that are important skills for a choir? How do you hold them and support and encourage them?
Got it. Well, that's a good question. Well, for one, we do have an audition process for our choir. Um, we it's not fair to the skilled singers to really have an open choir where anyone can join. And I know Swami. One of the things that I observed with Swami is that he maintained a very high standard for the music when he could.
Hmm.
And so, because it was given to him in such a beautiful form, I think he felt an obligation to the divine to share it as close to that beautiful form
Hmm.
as he could.
Hmm.
So audition is important for choir if you can, if you're a large enough center that you can. Um, and then there, of course, you stretch if you know that it's really important for somebody to be in choir and to sing and they don't quite meet the standard. I will stretch. So yeah, so we in each section, it's important to have strong singers to hold a pitch center. I arrange the choir when we perform so that the strong singers are behind the weaker singers, so that the weaker singers are bathed in that clarity of sound and pitch. Placement is very important to me. I know it's probably not as important to other directors, but that really helps glue the sound together in a performance. And then I just try and place people near people who have similar vocal characteristics, who can maybe they'll be able to hear more easily a
Hmm.
way to blend and move in with that other voice.
Do you
And
train people personally at all or require
oh
that they
yes,
do anything?
definitely.
Okay.
If somebody is a weak singer, I accept them conditionally, and I try and check back in every couple months. And if they're not really able to meet a minimum standard,
Hmm.
um, then I have to ask people to step out. We're fortunate in Palo Alto that we have so many extremely um, high quality singers. Over half the choir are soloists,
Mm.
are capable of soloing. And that's an enormous reservoir of strength and
Yeah.
talent. So if I had a smaller center and a smaller choir, I probably maybe have two choirs, an all-sing choir and then a more skilled choir for providing music for special events.
Right.
Just I think the last thing I would say is let's see if I can say this accurately because I don't want to misquote Swami on this. He encouraged almost everybody to sing that I can think of. Please, you should sing, you should be in the choir. He said it to many, many people. And at one point, I believe he said, those people who sing stay more in tune with me.
Hmm.
And that was powerful. That's a
Yeah.
powerful thought. So I leave you with that.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. So sing, everybody sing. And I hope this new songbook will make it really easy for
Yeah.
people to do that. But also that collection of Swami's music makes it absolutely effortless.
Great. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. Lovely to chat with you.
You too. Blessings.
Blessings.